Reppin' Philly ain't a choice, it's a way of life. PhillyGoat.com is your one stop shop for Philly pride. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off. Look fresh, stay Philly, Philly Goat. Go Birds. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Brotherly Birds Breakdown. We are the Montgomery Brothers. I'm Jim.
I'm Kyle.
And we are here. Week 11, the Lions. But before we get into anything with this episode, earlier this week was Veterans Day. So I do want to take a minute and say, if you are a veteran, if you have a veteran in your family, if somebody in your family gave the ultimate sacrifice, just want to say thank you. I appreciate your service. We appreciate your service. Gives us a chance to be here and talk birds. So thank you for your dedication, your service, your courage. Truly, truly appreciate it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We wouldn't be here doing this without you guys doing what you do. So we appreciate everything you guys do. And you know, we just pray for your safety all the time. So thank you.
Always. And I mean, it's cool that the NFL does do a good job with the salute to service and honoring the veterans. I mean, yeah, they make a ton of money off of the gear and whatnot, but they do a good job with like the flags and bringing veterans out and everything. So kudos to them too for what they do.
Yep. Yeah, it's definitely a cool time. I love seeing all the video clips and all that stuff, like the special segments that they do on Sports Center and all that stuff. It's always a good time. So, you know, it's a good time to honor those guys and pay respects for sure.
Now, I'm basing this on absolutely nothing, but I think the Eagles' record when they bring out the full field American flag for the national anthem is pretty damn good. So
Billion
I
and oh,
think
a billion and oh. I think they're undefeated.
Bring it out.
Yeah. No, we're due. I think we only had one time all year, right? I think it was a home opener.
It was a home opener.
Yeah. So, I mean, and they won that one. Just saying.
I need to
so
update
there might be some, your spreadsheet. There might be some truth to that.
But before we get into this week, let's talk about last week's game against the Packers, Monday Night Football. And I don't know about you, but a lot of people saying it was an ugly game, which, I mean, the beauty's in the eye of the beholder, I guess. But that 10-7 game looked a hell of a lot different than the Raiders-Broncos 10-7 game on Thursday Night Football. I thought that was a defensive masterclass on both sides.
Completely agree. And look, you know I said this all week on other pods and like tweeted it. You saw the tweets and everything, but like, can we acknowledge the fact that the Packers have a top 5 defense statistically in the NFL? Like their front four, their linebackers. Like if you saw the way their safeties played against the run, our offensive line could have blocked better. And Saquon, you know, if Micah doesn't trip him, he probably breaks one there too. But like their safeties played downhill. Like their linebackers played downhill. So like they're good, a really, really good defense. So I understand that like we have all these weapons on offense and we expect our team to score 30 points a game, but it's unrealistic to think they're going to do that every time against a top 5 defense. The Packers earn we got to give them their damn respect. They're a good team, especially at home at Lambeau. You know what I mean?
They're NFL players too.
Exactly. And they're damn good NFL players. So look, defensive struggle. I will say our defense played well. I know that the Packers were missing 37 receivers and had to put a defensive back who was a receiver, then converted. Now he converted back.
The old Troy Brown.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I understand that they were down those people. But again, as you said, they're still NFL players, and you still have to make the plays. And the Eagles made one more play than the Packers did.
Yes.
That's what it came down to.
But I guess the thing is, and since you brought up the receivers, I mean, I don't know if it would have mattered who was playing receiver that game, the way the pass rush was getting after Jordan Love. I feel like, and I saw some stat, it was like 40% of the time, and I might even be underselling it, overselling it, I'm not sure, but they were in his face almost every play, it seemed like. So I really don't think it would have mattered who was playing receiver with the pass rush is going to be getting after him like that.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And the thing that I like about Vic is, and he may dial this back now that that front four is getting the pressure it was, but he still dialed up the blitz quite a bit,
Yeah.
right? And he's had to do that all year to get pressure. He still did it with that front four getting pressure, and they got to him a lot. So I think I saw the stat with Jalen Phillips, 7 hurries or something, QB hurries or something like that. Like that's insane for a DN, like an edge rusher, um, playing your first game with a team. You know what I mean? So like you figure there's a little bit of a learning curve. Nope, it was literally just line up and get after the quarterback and stay
Listen,
disciplined, and that's what he did.
he
So
yeah, he said, I mean, when John Clark interviewed him at the I think it was when he was at the airport, he was like, "It's the greatest day of my life. I'm ready to get to
yeah,
work." And I mean, it showed. That dude came out and what I was hoping would happen happened. I thought it was contagious. And then you throw Nolan Smith being back in there too. I mean, and just think, it's going to get better as they get used to playing together and he gets more
yeah.
refreshed with Vic's system too.
Well, and look, like we talked about it last week a little bit, and 2 weeks ago during the bye week. But like, let's not discount BG being back. He was chirping with the. I don't
He
know if you
was.
saw the video. He was chirping with the cornerback or whatever it was. Like they were going at it, and he didn't skip. He hasn't skipped a beat. Like he just comes back and he's just right getting in people's faces, and that has to ignite a fire with the rest of that defense, knowing, oh shit, BG's talking and he's going to play 10 snaps, but he's already like getting in this guy's ear and getting in his head and renting space in there. It's only a matter of time. And like, they're just going to continue to do that, you know?
Yeah.
And I love it.
And
I love it.
sign me up for it. And I mean, I think from a linebacker perspective, I thought Kobe Dean played well again. And I know we were so hyped on Jihad, but I don't think he can take Kobe out of that starting lineup right now at all, the way he's playing.
You can't. And the one open field tackle that he made on that big second down play, if he doesn't make that tackle, that's a long
Right.
20 to 30-yard gain and probably I don't know. It definitely puts them in the field goal range for sure. But he missed a couple tackles because he's quick and he just flies around. But like you could tell he's the heartbeat of that defense right now. Like
Yeah.
this defense started gelling and started playing better when he came back. And there's no you can't dispute that.
And that's not a coincidence, I don't think either.
I was just getting ready to say, like the overall theme of this is the fact that they started playing well, and the direct correlation there is Nakobe Dean comes back from injury, right? So, and I think he just lights a fire, and he's the emotional leader on that team. I mean, Bond's great. Don't get me wrong, Bond's still playing at a high level this year, but Nakobe Dean's that emotional leader that they need.
No, but we talked about it last week too. The pressure of having to, or was it either last week or the bye week, the pressure of having to be the play caller is kind of off his shoulders. So he's able to focus just on playing.
Yep, yep, and that's the thing. I mean, when you have to multitask and do that, it's plus, throw Bond into the mix with having to not necessarily like coach him up, but he had to make sure that Campbell was in the right spot until
Yeah.
Nakobe Dean came back. Now he doesn't have to do that. So I want to see, like, I'm interested to see what they're going to do with Campbell. Like, are they going to continue to kind of move him between the two spots and just keep him flowing like that? I mean, I'd like to see him get a few more snaps at edge and just kind of spell those guys a little bit.
No, but I think again, we talked about this too. It's a good problem to have. I mean,
Yeah.
and God forbid somebody goes down or you need him to step in. I think having that cross train and being able to play either way is only going to help him down the road.
Well, and it's going to help Jalen Hunt. I mean, I think Jalen Hunt really played well against Green Bay. Still over pursuing. He gave up. He didn't keep containment, and that allowed Jordan Love to scramble for a couple of those first downs. But like that's still the young mentality that I think BG will help with that. Um,
Yeah.
just to kind of remind him of that, like, hey, you got to keep containment because all these guys now I don't see Jared Goff, even if you break containment, he's not going to scramble for a 10-yard gain.
No.
So This week you may be okay, but you gotta keep that in mind against any other quarterback basically that they're gonna play. They're gonna break containment. They're gonna get a first down. They're gonna scramble.
Right. I mean, but I'll say this about Jalen. I think he's way further along than what we thought. We said he was gonna have to be this way. I kinda had my doubts, but, I mean, you gotta remember, they drafted him as a project, and the fact
Mhm.
that he's playing at the level he is, I think with some coaching, it's still only year 1.5 right now for him, so there's still time for him to develop into a stud.
Well, I mean, we were ready to give up on not ready to give up on him, we were ready to declare him a bust and all this other stuff the first 4 weeks of the season because he was basically Bryce Huff Jr., like, he was
Yeah,
non-existent, you know what I mean? He was on the field, but there was nothing showing up in the stat sheet, at least now, he's getting there and he's contributing, and, you can tell that as the season's going along, he's getting more comfortable out there, which is awesome, I think they're all getting more comfortable, even in the secondary. Look, it's amazing what a pass rush can do to help hide your deficiencies in the secondary, right? You didn't hear
yeah,
anything really about Dory Jackson. No, Dory Jackson actually made a couple good plays,
he
right?
did. It's our daily,
So
our weekly segment. Who's cute or, CB2?
can we can we just please get Keely Ringo off the field? He may be the only person I've ever seen get called for that. You're the kickoff team and you get called for a hold. How does
Like,
that happen?
you have to try to do that. Like, I
It's
don't
just
get it.
you push off to catapult yourself. Like, if you're not fast enough, you shouldn't be on the field, dude. Like, you shouldn't be
Well,
the
even
gunner.
Aikman and Buck were like, everybody thought it was on Green Bay, and they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, okay then."
Never. I don't even think that's like when they call the rare offsides on the offense, like the
Yeah,
offsides, like not the,
right.
like false start
Not a
early,
false
but
start.
yeah, offsides on the offense. You're like, what? So it was the same thing. It was a holding on the kicking team. I'm like, Jesus, are you kidding me? So I don't know, man. I, I said this the other day, and and I'm anxious to get your take. I feel like Keely Ringo was the half off part of the buy one get one half off from the Georgia players. Like we bought a full price. You know what I mean? Like we bought a full
Right.
price guy from Georgia when we drafted whoever we drafted that year. And then they threw in Keely Ringo, like, no, you got to take him too, but we'll give him to you for half off. We're like, all right, he went to Georgia. He has
That's a
to
good
be good.
deal.
Yeah, no, he's
That's a
not.
great
He's not.
analogy, it really is.
It has to be right. Like it's he's pretty damn close to just being like that throw-in guy that you're like, shit. I asked for a player to be named later, but I didn't realize it was going to be Keely Ringo. You know?
Timo, Georgia Bulldog.
Yeah, yeah. It's it's like the Georgia Bulldog, but for some reason the Bulldog's face is upside down or something like that. Like it's
It's
the
like a pink color jersey instead of the
yeah,
red.
yeah. It's not the red. Yep, yep. It's crazy.
No, I mean, but if the defense is going to play like this, I'm anxious to see what's going to happen with Jacorian Bennett and even Michael Carter getting more playing time, getting more comfortable this week. But we can get into that. But I guess because they are part of the team, they were on the field. We got to talk a little bit about the offense. And yeah, I mean, I will say, like we talked about, a lot of that was the Packers defense. However, there are definitely some missed opportunities, I thought, on the offensive side of the ball, whether it's missed blocks, because and we were talking about it on the one text chain. The one play, I think Saquon had the hole,
Yeah.
would have probably broke a long run, and then Mailata fell. Like he
Yep.
literally slipped and fell right in front of Saquon.
Tackled him
Um,
for him. Yeah. Yep.
yeah. So what's your gut feeling on the offense from last week?
So here's my gut, and we talked about this on the group chats, right? That first drive was epic. That first drive was great. They were clicking. They looked like a well-oiled machine, and it looked like it was going to be a long night for the Packers. And then the fumble happened. When the fumble happened, you could you could look at Jalen and see that he was a little shook by that because he prides himself on protecting the ball. And I think that caused Patullo and even Sirianni to get real conservative a lot more than what they were
Yeah.
going to be, right? So, and look, we can look at any game film and we can look at any screenshot and any replay, and if you slow it down enough, a receiver's always open, right? So we can be like, "Oh,
Yeah.
look, AJ was open on this one. Oh, Jalen missed Goddard over the middle on this one." But in real time, that doesn't show the same you can't see the same picture, you know what I mean? So, like, we can always dissect things and, like, micro manage it and, like, just overanalyze as much as we want, but at the end of the day, real time is real time. So, like, were there missed opportunities? Yeah, there was a couple times where it looked like the offensive line didn't block at all. The defensive line
No.
was 2 steps into the backfield, like, almost as soon as Saquon got the ball, they were right there to greet him, and, when people are talking about, "Oh, Saquon, isn't what he was last year," I don't think Saquon isn't what he was last year. I think the offensive line is not what it was last year,
It's
point blank,
100% the line. Yeah.
you know?
Because he looks fresh when he does get the chance. I mean, he looked like the old Saquon on that screen pass. Like
Yeah,
that
100%, and
that's Saquon. He didn't look like he was slowed down a step or anything.
no, he didn't lose a step at all, and I mean, if AJ finishes the block a little more on that, he's probably gone. I mean, AJ blocked as good as he could. He was trying to block 2 guys basically, so, like, he
Right.
did as much as he could. But I know Mailata was a rugby player, and I know but Mailata's an all-pro, right? So, and he's one of the highest paid in the league now. You gotta understand that just because the defensive line moves, that doesn't give you carte blanche to come out of your stance and false start and point to the defense like they drew you off sides. Like, unless they come in a neutral zone, that's not
Yeah.
offsides.
I think
So,
you
like,
gotta be smarter with that. I think
that
they're
was a
taught
dumb
that,
thing.
but
Yeah,
he was
but
late. Like the
way
guy was
late
already jumped back
and got
and
back into
back
his
in his
stance,
stance.
basically. Yeah.
And then he jumped and was like, "No, no, 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 it was you."
Right. He gotta learn, he gotta be better than that. And I just think that, like, look, if he was blocking out of his mind this year and he was playing at an all pro level, all right, you can kind of let that one go. We'll let that one go, but he's not. So, like, stuff like that gets magnified too. And, like, he gotta step his game
Yeah.
up a little more. So
And he
I
even
feel like
said that too.
overall, yeah,
Like,
yeah,
he
and
said
that's what I was
he's
getting
not
ready to
playing
say.
his best.
That's what I was just getting ready to say. I feel like overall, like, the people that aren't playing well are taking accountability, and that includes AJ. I feel like AJ's saying the same. He's saying all the right things. When we heard his 8-minute long interview,
Right.
I don't disagree with anything he said. I think, and, like, the only thing that I disagree with the media on in any of this, media is like, oh, he needs to keep that in house, and he needs. No, he doesn't. Maybe he did try to keep it in house, and you heard Jalen when he came out on his press conference. Jalen's like, well, we're going to put a hold to that because we have the Lions this week, and it's like, well, maybe you said the same thing to AJ when he tries to bring this up. So
Right.
AJ's like, well, screw it. I got to bring it up in the media because nobody's listening to me in here. You know what I mean? Like, just throwing that out there. I don't know.
Right. I mean, and honestly, we might as well get into that because truthfully, other than the punt or the going for the pass on fourth down, there's not really much else to talk about offensively in
Well,
that game.
I think before we get into that, we do have to bring up one thing. And Mr. Gibson, you ever do something that dumb at the goal line and try to pick what? I don't even know what he was thinking. I have no idea what he was thinking trying to pick up that punt. No idea.
Like I heard some people try to explain that there's some obscure rule
That if the
that,
defense touches it and all that, you can advance it, but it's no.
but they
I know.
can't.
And
But
they can't penalize you for that and all that stuff. I got that. Like, I kind of figured that was the reason. But look, I don't want to talk bad about somebody I never met or anything, but I don't know that he knew that rule. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
and that's what I was going to say. I mean, bottom line is you still would have had a touchback if you just run the other way and get away from it.
just get
Like
out of
there
the
was,
way. Like, there's no
yeah,
reason to do that. You know what I mean? You risk way too much in that situation to try to go after it. And I could understand if you had nobody next to you, but you had 4 other players right next to you on the Packers. Like,
you
they were
weren't going
right
anywhere.
there. No, no, you're not Deshaun Jackson that could, like, break that and, like, get away from 4 different people.
Right.
You're not that shifty. You know what I mean? So let's hope he's not returning punts, and if he is, hopefully he got an earful to not touch that ball
Yeah,
ever again.
let's go over these rules a little bit more.
Jesus.
Don't be cute.
Yeah, yeah, you're not that guy, pal. You're not that guy.
So I guess before we get into the AJ thing, because I think that was the the story of the week. What do you make of Nick Sirianni playing so conservative and then in the most ridiculous time of the game, the time that you probably want to be the most conservative, take the 5-yard delay of game penalty and then give yourself an extra 5 yards to work with? Were they trying to do the same thing they did against Minnesota and
Mhm.
it was a better
They
defense and it didn't work out, or was he overthinking, or both?
so I think, we're never gonna know the truth on this, and kudos to Sirianni for being a leader of men, greatest coach in Eagles history. Um, being a leader of men and taking ownership of it and just saying, "I knew what play was gonna be called." I I understand that he knew what play was called and he knew what was gonna happen. You can't tell me that that was the play that was called, that was the route. Right? He
Yeah,
knew that there was a route 6 yards in, that was a slant route. Guarantee you that was the play that was called, and him and Jalen looked at each other, and they went with that deep pass. It looked like the Minnesota game, it looked like the Washington NFC Championship game on the 4th and 1 last year, but those 2 situations worked. It also reminded me of the Seattle game a couple years ago when they went rogue and
yep,
threw that deep pass, and it did not work, and they ended up losing the game. So they got away with this one where they still won. Having said that, I don't mind the aggressiveness there because his logic and the way he explained it did make sense. If you get a field goal there, you're still only up 6, they can still come down and beat you. You get a touchdown there or throw an interception, they have to go 97 yards, right? So I get all that. Um, I just I would have liked, and I like them having the confidence in the offense, but I like the slant route there. I think the slant route was the way to
I
go.
agree. And I mean, I
But
don't care what anybody says. You saw it on the sideline. He was like, "Why?
yeah,
Why?" That was not the play he wanted. But to your point, he's like, "All right, I'm not going to throw my guys under the bus. Ike
correct.
made the and and I think you could tell by the way he got so testy yesterday with Tim McManus and I think it was Jeff McClain. Like
Mhm.
you don't usually see that out of Nick Sirianni, and that to me was him trying to protect his players,
It was,
which I'm
and
sure he
he
reamed
told them.
them.
Oh, well, I mean, he probably reamed all of them because Scott Van Pelt had Devontae Smith on right after the game, and he asked him, "Were you surprised in that situation?" And Devontae Smith was like, "Nah, whatever 1 and 11 wanna do in that situation, we trust them." Well, that's
Yeah,
kinda different than what Sirianni said, so, like, I'm sure there's probably a little bit of truth in the middle. They probably went up there and gave him 2 options, and they actually went to the line of scrimmage after the timeout with enough time that he could
gave him a
audible
little.
that. Correct, and I guarantee you if you'll probably see it come out, unless, he didn't give him that, he probably just gave him, like, some other signal, but
Right.
it I'd be hard pressed to for you to tell me that that wasn't a Jalen and AJ thing, and that was the exact call that Sirianni
I
came up
thought
with.
that as soon as they ran the play, it's like
Yeah.
immediately that's what I was thinking. And I mean, and if 50-50 it works, I mean, I get it. It's just threw me off that they were that conservative the entire
Mhm.
leading up to that. And then all of a sudden, the one time you probably should be conservative in a tight game, that's when you
Yep.
want to go aggressive. But I
Yeah, I
mean,
mean, look, I just I don't understand that route, but I don't mind the play call. Would it have been better if you punt it? Sure. Is there a chance that it would have went in the end zone? It would have been a net of like 16 total yards anyway. Absolutely. But, those are the chances you take, and ultimately, like, he had faith in his defense too, and his defense came up big, but, AJ said it at his locker today, like, they can't just keep hoping that the defense bails them out of games. The offense has to
right.
actually win some games, and it's gonna have to happen at some point, and this is probably the week, you know?
This is probably the week. But thinking about it now, it just popped in my head. He does that. I think you're right. I think there were probably the 2 play calls, and that was the one they chose because if you think about it, go back to Atlanta last year. They lost that game because Saquon made the drop, and everybody's like, "What are you doing? Why don't you kick a field goal? Why don't you punt it?" But Saquon makes that catch. The Eagles
Game's
lose
over.
2 games last year. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I guess
Yep.
it fits his game plan or his MO, I guess you can call it. But I don't know. I just wanted to see your take on it because I mean it worked out, but I think it also you have he has confidence in the defense as well to
Yeah, and look, I
say,
mean, 90% of that time, I think 9 times out of 10, maybe 8 times out of 10, because we know 2 times it didn't work because you just brought one up, but, 80% of that time, I guarantee you they make that play. Or they get a pass interference call, or
right,
they get an interception where it's a long interception where something works in their favor in that regard. The worst case scenario was what happened where it was an incomplete pass and the Packers take over right there. So, um, you know, here's the thing: if they make that catch and AJ scores, nobody's saying that it's a bad play call. Everybody's like,
no,
"Man, he has balls of steel. That was a great play call.
I
Like,
agree. Yeah,
kudos for him
that's
for
why
being aggressive." So,
I was not that like, oh my god, what are you doing? I'm like,
yeah,
because I've seen it work more than once for him, so I'll take it.
yeah. I mean, I was more pissed off about the 3rd and 12 cowards draw that they do, and not trying
Twice.
to get 3 points before the first half ended. Like, I was more pissed off at that than I was at the aggressive play call at the end of the game.
Right, that and
So,
passing it, the 2 plays before that when if you run, the clock is but I
yep,
don't know. Like you said, I mean, we can go back and pick apart this play, that play, this decision, but
right.
I mean, bottom line is all the guy does is win.
That's it. That's it. Jalen Hurts wins. Sirianni wins. This whole team wins, right? So, like, I don't know if you saw this stat, but in honor of Dayball being fired, I posted this in the Clashing Conferences. Shout out Clashing Conferences, by the way, the podcast and in the Discord chat. Sirianni's record through 5 years right now is 55-23, right? The Giants' record over the last 10 years, 55, 109, and 1. So Sirianni has the same amount of wins in half the amount of time as the New York Football Giants. So just wanted to throw that out there. I know the future is bright for the Giants with Jackson Dart and Cam Scatabo, Captain Caveman, and all that fun stuff. But they have the same amount of wins as Nick Sirianni in 5 more years of playing. So just wanted to throw that out there.
Right there in black and white too. Can't
Black and
dispute.
white, brother. Black and white.
Alright,
That's
so
actually a
we
pretty
alluded to it.
impressive stat, right? That's a pretty
That's it.
impressive
I mean, I was
stat.
gonna say that's huge, and the fact that they're 50 over 50 games under 500 in 10 years is
Yeah. With
that's
a tie. With a tie. Oh,
oh yeah, don't forget about the tie. But I know, but a couple of those wins came against you.
that's
It's alright.
fine. And a
Kiss the
lot of
ring.
a lot of
Kiss the ring.
Sirianni's 55 came against them too. So we'll take it. We'll take it.
Kiss the ring. Alright, so we alluded to it. Let's get into it. I don't wanna say the elephant in the room, but I I I guess my thing is kudos to AJ. I mean, really, for like, did he handle some of the stuff early in the season with like cryptic tweets and things like that? No. And I think we talked about that. And
Hmm.
no, come on, man up. If you're unhappy, say something. And I think in this instance, the fact that I look at it like this. I say my job, my work is a shit show all the time. I say it to people I work with, probably people I work with that I shouldn't say it to. But sometimes, like he said, like you're that frustrated about something, you make jokes about it. And he was on a Twitch stream with his friend, and he didn't hide from it though. Like he stood up and answered the questions. And like you said, he didn't say one thing that wasn't true or that we
No.
all weren't thinking about the offense.
Yeah, and
Like
look,
we,
I
as
mean,
he said, we have eyes.
correct. You have eyes, you can see it, and he's not wrong. And he justified it by saying, like he said he needs to play better, and then he also said the offense needs to play better. I don't think there's anybody out there that would disagree with any of that.
No,
Not one bit. Not one bit. And I don't think there's anybody on that offense that probably took offense to that, right? I think
they
everybody on that
shouldn't have
offense is
anyway.
probably like, shit, he's right. I mean, Jordan Mailata said it every week on the Players Lounge on 94. You know what I mean? Like 94.1. He's like,
Yeah,
well, we got to play better. We're 1 block away. We're 1 block away. Well, you were 1 block away. Then what happened this week? I guess you're 2 blocks away again.
two
You know what I
blocks away.
mean? Right. Because you trip and tackle your own player. But listen, AJ is, he said the right things today. He pretty much came out and just poured his heart out there, and he did it in the right way. He didn't sound disgruntled. He didn't throw anybody under the bus. You know, like last year when you pointed out to it, and he said, you know, well, what's wrong with this offense? He said passing.
Passing.
That could have been misconstrued and taken as a clear shot at Jalen. He didn't take a clear shot at Jalen this year. He didn't take a
No, he
clear
even
shot
gave
at
him
play
prop.
calling. Correct. Correct. So that's what drives me nuts about the Philadelphia media. You know, they will dissect and just kind of put everything under a microscopic lens to kind of make believe what he said, right? They're and they don't ever say that, like, they don't ever make it believe that it was a good thing. It's always that it was the worst thing possible.
Right.
Can you believe he said this? Why would you say that? Well, they asked his honest opinion. It is a shit show. The offense is a shit show right now.
It's
It's very
100%.
inconsistent. It's very inconsistent, and I don't blame him for saying it. A Twitch stream at 1:30 in the morning may not have been the best avenue to do, but at the same time, your guard's down, it's 1:30 in the morning, you're on there with your friend, it is what it is.
I don't even know if it was 1:30 in the morning because his sun was still up. I think somehow
Yeah,
the stream did not
that's a
get
good point.
now. It's
That's a good
I'm
point.
not
Yeah,
if your kid's up at 1:30 hanging out with you, that hey, that's on you. But I wouldn't want my kid like, especially if I'm just trying to unwind. Like, get away from me, kid.
yeah. No, 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 that's a good point, that's a good point, but look, you know, with AJ, that's gonna I just gotta throw out, you know, my 2 cents this week. It's gonna be short and sweet, but it's on the heels of AJ. I feel like on the heels of all week, really, we had these issues. So it's something to bring to light and just kind of talk about real quick. But I think AJ, when he vents and talks about this stuff, it's a way for him. It's kind of like his therapy, right? He he is allowed to express himself, and he expresses himself. Some people live in social media. I mean, these guys are young guys. They grew up in social media. The older generation that a lot of this media is didn't grow up with social media, so they're still trying to understand it and they're still trying to learn it.
Right.
AJ's generation and all these younger kids that are younger than him, that they've lived it like that. Their whole life is
That's
a
all they know.
revolving around. Yeah, exactly. So for him to use that, you know, like he's already come out and said before that he's struggled with mental health concerns and mental health issues. I feel like this is his therapy. I feel like he's able to do that, and I feel like the Eagles kind of handle it that way. They don't handle it as a distraction. They handle it as AJ being AJ, and they don't take offense to it because it's him venting and expressing his feelings, right? So um, I don't have any problem with it. I feel like AJ needs to be AJ, and I feel like you're going to see something different this week because I feel like it was good, it was healthy, and you know, like anybody that has ever struggled with mental health, you know, Jair Alexander just had to step away for physical and mental health, so I'm sure not playing all year, getting traded, doing all that stuff takes a toll on your mental health. You know what I mean? So like mental issues and mental health issues are nothing to kind of disregard and put to the wayside. It's very easy for fans like us, common fans, diehard fans, to go, "There's no reason for this guy to be like that. He has millions of dollars and he gets to play a game." You don't know what these guys go through. Nobody understands that. So it's when they have to constantly hear about, you know, people picking them apart. Oh, he didn't run that route the right way. You as much as you don't want that to take a toll on you, you know it takes a toll on you. You know what I mean?
It
So
has to. You're a human being.
yeah, I mean, look, and you know, I know we have a rival, we have a hatred for the Dallas Cowboys, but what they had to go through this week with their player and doing what he did and having mental health concerns and everything like that. Shout out to them for you know, just going through what they dealt with. No, you don't wish that upon anybody, even your rivals. So
No.
you know, shout out to them, prayers to them, friends, family of that guy. You know, hopefully they can kind of get back on. And you know, it's just like when Scatabo got injured. It's amazing how these guys can just flip a switch and get back to playing football right away. You know what I mean? But like, it's their therapy for a lot of these guys. It's all they've done since they've been 4 or 5 years old. So it's like a therapy session for them. So I think as fans, we need to do a better job of understanding that and appreciating that. And I feel like the media, don't get me wrong, I love the Philadelphia media, but I also hate them. And I think we're all in the same boat. I feel like Philadelphia media loves themselves and hates themselves at the same time because you you can do that. Like you can be like the hey, let's give Trey Turner a standing ovation type thing, and then 2 months later, he sucks. Let's trade him. He's horrible. His
Cut him.
contract's the worst thing ever. So like we got to do a better job as Philadelphia fans and as the media to just go, let's give these guys a little bit more of the benefit of the doubt because we don't know what they're going through in their personal life. We don't know any of that stuff, nor should we, right? That's not for them to disclose that information. But kudos to AJ for actually coming out and saying some of that stuff. He's always been a big advocate for mental health, and I hope more people kind of take him up on that. And he always wears a sweatshirt to say, check on your teammate or ask your teammate how they're doing. I hope some people do actually check on him and ask him how he's doing a little more.
I
I
agree.
think that'll go a long way, right? So those are my 2 cents this week. If you're struggling with mental health, make sure you're reaching out to somebody. It's just,
Hell, call
it's
us.
it.
Like,
Yeah, call us. We'll have you on. We'll have you vent. You can hop on the podcast and say your shit, whatever you need to talk about. But at the end of the day, I feel like this has been a good week for AJ. I feel like it's been a good week for the team to kind of take that next step, turn the page, and kind of get through that. So, hopefully this was a team bonding type thing, and they can kind of look back on this and say that that was the turning point of the year. You know?
no, I mean, and I agree. And to your point about the media, like I keep going to this because it's I flip between Johnny Marks and Hugh and Joe. Um, a lot of times I get stuck on Hugh and Joe only because I love Hugh. And no offense, Johnny, if you're out there listening, the commercials that 97.5 plays, like it's just one constant commercial for the next show coming up. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I get tired of it. But the fact that like most people after AJ came out and said what he said yesterday kind of were like, you know what? He's right. And I don't want to say like, I mean, because you saw the polls, I'm sure. Is AJ this or that? Are you tired of AJ? And the fact that so many people were like, he's right and kind of like on his side and supporting him on that. And you
Hmm.
got guys like Joe Giglio who like doubled down today on it and said he needs to be out of here. This is this. And like, it's just ridiculous because did he handle it the right way from the very beginning of the season? Probably not. And I think he's even admitted that with the tweets. But here we are. You know what I mean? And the fact that he dealt with it, people were like, you know what? You're right. You brought it to light. And to me, reinforce what we've been seeing with, to borrow his quote, with our eyes.
Yep.
We saw it. Like to double down on that then is just ridiculous. But I agree. I think I mean, truthfully, it's going to go one of two ways. And I think this game this week is either going to be the 49ers game in 2023 or it's going to be the jump off point for something special the next season. Now, they could still lose this game and it wouldn't be the 2023 49ers. I'm not saying that. But remember that game. They came in and the 49ers just took belt to ass to the Eagles that game, and it was all downhill after that. They could lose a close game, and still this could still be the jump off point. But
Right.
um, like I said, I mean, I thought what he said and the way he said he was complimentary to Jalen, he was complimentary to the coaches, but at the same time said we need to evolve, we need to get better because all of these teams have evolved to catch us. We need to be one step ahead.
Yeah, and look, and Jalen backed that up when he did his press conference before he, kind of told everybody shut up about it. I'm moving on to the Lions, but he basically said like AJ said about having a growth mindset, and we all need to have that. We all need to continue to do that, continue to get better. Boom! I love that. That means that they're on the same page when it comes to that.
Right.
So it's good. I feel like everybody's saying that he should be out of here. You can't sit here, those same people can't sit here and tell me with a straight face that they think that we're a better team without AJ on the field. Simple as that. Simple as
Joe
that. We're
Giglio
not.
would. Joe Giglio
And
would tell you.
he needs to get better glasses, right? I know he has glasses. He needs to get a better prescription because there's no way we're a better team and we can win a Super Bowl without AJ Brown on the field.
I 100% agree. And going back to Jalen's press conference, I have to say I think that might have been his best press conference since he's been the quarterback of the Eagles. I feel like sure he gave his riddles and
It's cliches. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah.
his cliche a day. I swear he has a calendar that he just whatever
He
he
might.
says.
He might.
But I mean, it seems like he's got one, and like I feel like he memorizes it. But I thought he gave way more than he's ever given. And like you said, about having the growth mindset, about saying we need to focus on the Lions right now. We
Yep.
need like to stick together. I mean, he even came back and brought back the old school Eagles quote, all we got, all we need. Which
Yep.
I thought
Yep.
was I think he did that was purposeful. I don't think anything he does is by accident, but I do feel like
Completely
that
agree.
was the closest we've come to like seeing him be like a human almost, if that's a good way to put it.
No, I agree. And like he did seem more like he's not a man, he's not a machine, he's a man. Like that's
Yeah.
what it felt like. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
all right, yeah, he's a quote machine, but he actually has a little bit of emotion too. So I liked it. I liked it. Outside of like the everybody had a what did he say? I had a pin before everybody had an opinion of me. Or I had a purpose before everybody had an opinion of me. Outside
Yeah.
of that, when he said that, this was probably one of my more favorite ones of him doing, especially when I heard him be like, "Yeah, we're gonna put that on hold right now because we had the Lions coming in." I'm like, "Oh, okay." He pretty much said, "That's enough. I'm done."
I'm
Yeah,
taking control back of this press conference now.
he didn't do the Drew Rosenhaus to next question, next question. He didn't do that. He just was like, I know you guys got to ask these questions. I respect that, but we're moving on." So it
And they
was
all
good.
did.
Yeah,
To me though, that's the thing. Like, because I've seen it where like you saw it with Nick, where they kept asking the same question. When Jalen spoke, they were like, "Okay, we're moving on."
because you knew what you were going to get out of him. You're not going to get an
Right.
answer. You're going to get a runaround, and he's going to change the subject anyway. So, kudos to him for having that respect, and that's where, like I said, that's where the media can be bipolar sometimes, right? Where it's like one time they're going to keep going after somebody and going after them, and then the next time they're like, yeah, okay, we'll let you off the hook.
Yeah.
It's like make up your mind. You know?
We got our quote for our story. We can move on.
Yeah, yeah. Now we have our headline. We're good. It's unreal.
All right, before we move into the Lions, I saw this kind of floating around, and I'll take your opinion on it too. But I just want to say to everybody out there who is even floating the idea right now of Brian Dable having anything to do with this team,
Greg,
just stop. Just stop. No, like I get that he was instrumental in the development of Josh Allen and all of that. No, just no. And like it's certainly as bad as sometimes we question Kevin Petula's play calling. Sure as hell don't want him to be the offensive coordinator, especially heading into week 11. So anybody who's entertaining that idea, no.
well, look, I know you need to. I know you need it for clicks. I know you need, something to talk about. But number one, it's never going to happen mid-season. You're not going to fire your
No.
offensive coordinator and bring in a fired coach from another team to be an offensive coordinator. It's not going to happen. If Dayball does anything, it'll be to go to Buffalo and be a consultant, similar to what
Right.
Fangio has done in the past and stuff like that. That's what it'll end up being. But I don't want that guy near my team in any way, shape, or form. He's not a leader of men. He's a great offensive mind, but he's not a leader of men. So we don't need that.
Nope.
Number one. Number two, look, if you want to say that he helped develop Josh Allen, sure. Josh Allen is 6'5" and has a cannon for an arm and he's a freak athlete. It's a lot easier to develop that when you already have that part established. You know what I mean?
Right. And I mean, that was also 5, 6 years ago, too. So I'm not saying Josh Allen is who he is because of Dable, but
I think it was 6, 7 years ago. 6, 7. Sorry. Shout out
okay,
Keegan and Thatcher. I know they're yeah. Shout
we
out
don't ever
Keegan and
have to do
Thatcher.
that
I
on
know
this
they're liking
podcast
that
again.
one. Yeah, I know they're loving that part. If they even watch this,
No, Ella will. So Ella will get
there you
it.
go. Ella will get it. Yeah, there you go. Love it.
No, but I saw too many people putting that on Twitter, and I'm like, absolutely not. In no way, not even as a consultant. Just you go
Yeah.
somewhere else.
our cousin Greg was I'm gonna apologize
Well,
already, Kyle, and I was like, "No, bullshit. No, absolutely not. Get
he
that thought out of your head."
he was one of the ones I was talking about. I'm just,
Yep,
but he
yep.
wasn't the only one. I have seen other people throwing it out there. You know how the AI with the
No,
headset and eagle, like, no,
yeah.
please no,
It
God
made me
no.
wanna throw up just looking at that. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. All right,
No.
good. We're on the same page there.
Yeah.
All right, so huge game. Like, I don't even want to say this is a big game. This is a huge, huge game this week.
Yep. Yep, it is huge. And, you know, I don't know that it's must win, but it's pretty damn close for this part of the season because, um, you have the tiebreaker over every other potential top contender except for Seattle, who you don't play. So, common opponent, all that stuff taken into it, you need this win. You can't give one back.
Yeah,
You need this win, right? So,
yeah. I like to look at it, and I hate this quote, but if there's ever a time that it fits, it might not be a must win, but it's a can't lose.
yeah. Well, and that goes back to how the offense plays too. Jalen said it a couple weeks ago. We need to come out and play to win instead of playing not to lose. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I think that's what the Eagles need to do. They need to come out and play to win and play not to lose and not play scared because this is going to be a challenging one, man.
So I guess let's start there. Can the Eagles keep up with their offense? Can they score enough to handle this
Yeah,
team?
yeah. There's no reason why they can't. I don't see why they can't. And look, I know people are going to say, "Oh, well, the offense looked like shit against the Packers." The Packers have a top five defense. The Lions don't have a top five defense. The Lions and Eagles are probably right next to each other in defensive rankings.
I looked it up today. I think they were either 10 and 11 or 11 and 12.
Yeah, they're probably right next to each other.
Yeah,
They're pretty similar. I give the edge to the Eagles just because of the linebackers. I think our linebacker core is pretty much better. Um, we have Q, but they have a solid secondary all around. Like we have
they do.
Q and Coop, but like all four of their guys are pretty solid. I think we defensive lines are a wash. You know what I mean? I think it's equal. They got Aiden Hutchinson. Now we got Jalen Phillips. So I think our offense can score. Um, they just got to come out and the play calling needs to be on track. You know what I mean? It needs to
Right.
be at its A game. It can't be. It needs to be like how it was against the Vikings and Giants. It can't be like how it was against the
The
Packers
first
and against
drive
the
of
Giants
the
the first time.
Packers game.
Or yeah, exactly, exactly. So, but yeah, I definitely think they can score enough points. Question is, will they?
Right. And there's no doubt in my mind they can, but yeah, I agree. And I think I agree with your takes on their defense with one exception. And maybe he comes out and proves me wrong this week. I think Aiden Hutchinson, and I'm a little biased. I'll give you that, but I think he's an absolute stud. I think he's better than anybody we have right now. Now, if Phillips comes out and plays like he did again last or this week that he did last week, then I'm like, okay, maybe. I think he has the
Mhm.
potential to, but I'll give that edge. But I think the way they played last week, I would give the edge to us just because of the depth that we have.
Well, that's what I was saying. I think defensive line, I would give the edge to us as a collective, right? As Jalen likes to say, the collective. I think our defensive line as the collective is better than theirs. They have the better all around player, but I think our collective is deeper, and our interior line, like with Ajomo, Jordan Davis, and Jalen Carter, I think that gets us the edge, right? Um, it was good to see Jalen Carter get a couple passes deflected and stuff like that,
Yeah,
and he was getting some pressure. And look, I'm gonna say it again. We said it all last year. We said it at the beginning of this year. Jalen Carter gets held on every single damn play. He gets tackled on every single damn play. Even the ones that he makes a play on, he's getting held and getting
right.
tackled. So I don't know when they're going to start calling that. They used to they ended up stop calling that when it was Aaron Donald back in the day because they were like, well, we can't throw a flag every play. You know what I
Every
mean?
play,
So
yeah.
I think that's how they are with Jalen Carter. But I agree with you. I'm more inclined to see what our linebackers can do against Gibbs and Montgomery.
No, I think that's going to be the key to that. just because it's like, all right, you stop one, and it's just like you got the fresh guy coming in who's just as good.
Yeah. Yep.
Like,
Yep. Yeah, it's gonna be tough, man. It's gonna be tough.
so who plays? So do you think Michael Carter gets more play this week? I think he almost has to.
I think he does. I don't know if Bennett's gonna be back for this game. But Vic likes something in Adoree Jackson, so I can see them doing something where Coop is still out there. Makuba, can we just throw out that Makuba can't guard the pass right now? Like he's a
He
liability in
cannot.
passing coverage. So hopefully they can figure that part out. And like if Carter can slide to the slot, move Coop back, whatever they need to do to kind of hide that a little bit.
Right.
Because if you give Jared Goff enough time, he will eat that up. He will expose that pretty quickly.
So that's the next question then, because Amaron St. Brown likes to he's more of a slot receiver than anything. Do you put Coop on him? Do you Carter? I mean, you have two of the best nickel corners in the league. Like, who plays the slot this week, or do you just kind of rotate it depending on personnel and game flow?
I think that's ultimately what he's going to end up doing. He's going to rotate it, and I think he's going to play more zone. Like that bubble zone type thing. Then he's going to play man to man because of the liability at the CB2 spot. When you play that zone with the safeties over the top like that, that allows you to get a little more flexibility in who you put there. So I also think that between Vaughn and Jahad Campbell out there in pass coverage, that clogs up the middle with Laporta. So
It
it gives
does.
you a lot more to kind of move around and play around with. So the sad part about it is like the offense for the Lions is so stacked that you don't know if they're going to be in passing mode or run mode, and they could come out with both running backs and have them both flare out, and then that clears up the middle of the field for Laporta because both running backs. So it's going to be a challenge, man. It's going to be a chess match for sure to see what Vic can do against that offense.
No, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, this is the biggest challenge. I think this is the game we all wanted to see. I mean, I'm glad we didn't. I mean, I'm
Hmm.
just going to throw it out there. Not that I was scared of them, but I much would
Yeah.
have rather have a home NFC Championship game. But I think this is the game everybody wanted to see last year, and I know the Lions have it circled. Jalen alluded to it, so they're going to come out and give them their best. And Campbell is super aggressive, so and if it's unless it's like 4th and 12, and even then, I'm sure there's times where he's going to go for it. Like you got to be ready, and I think they're going to need every single one of those defensive linemen throughout the
Hmm.
game just to keep fresh.
Yeah. Hopefully, BG
Same
got
with
some rest because he's going to need more than 10 snaps this week.
oh yeah,
You know.
I'm going to
So
need a lot of this too.
oh, for sure, for sure. But let's why don't we get into the your keys of the game?
All right. Plus, it's BG's home playing against his home team too,
Oh, well,
so
hold
he's
on.
going to be
Before we get into the keys of the game, why don't we touch on our picks from last week and let's talk
I,
about those.
I almost forgot. Um,
Yeah, I'm sure you
I
did.
had I had the Eagles winning. That was it.
Yes. Yep. Me too. Me too. The score was definitely not what we got, but we each got the
Weren't
win
even
for that.
close.
No. No.
And I think the difference was the fact that you had 2 turnovers, and
I did, and I had Jalen Phillips was going to get a sack. He didn't get a sack, but he did get a forced fumble and a fumble recovery. So kind of in there. But the
eh,
two turnovers for sure. That second one really, that got me the win for the week. So I'm back off the schneid.
yeah,
I got to
this
5
win
wins
streak is
already on the
over.
year. Yep, the win streak is
3 5
over.
and 1, 5 3 and 1.
There you go.
But yeah, I did forget. So there you go. Sorry, going getting ready to go on a run here. And I will say too, last thing before I give you my 3 keys to the game. You remember last year coming off the bye, the Eagles played the Browns.
Yep,
The offense looked like absolute crap in that game. And I remember walking out of the stadium that day feeling like they had lost that game because it was
yep,
so bad.
yep.
I don't feel like they lost that game in Green Bay. So I think the we've seen it. So there's no doubt that I think you're going to see a better offensive performance this week.
Completely agree.
which,
And we left last week saying that Sirianni is undefeated coming out of the bye week. Sirianni is still undefeated coming out of the bye week.
yes,
He's 5-0 now, not 4-0. So, I completely agree with you. I feel great about that win. Not great, but I could definitely feel a lot worse after a win. So that was a
right.
solid football team on the road, coldest game of the year. I'll take it. I'll take it. But yeah, I agree with you. First thing I thought of too was the Browns game, and I was like, damn, we walked out of that stadium thinking this is the team. Like we come out of a bye week thinking it was gonna. We almost lost to Deshaun Watson, you know,
Yeah,
before
that's
he
right. Watson
before
was still the
it was
quarterback.
Watson still as the quarterback at that time. Yeah. So, but yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%.
So that leads nicely into my first key, though. I think the one thing that was bad was the offensive line last week. And I think both lines need to play well. I think for on the offensive side, you got to protect Jalen because they're going to come after him. I think you got to establish the run and run right at that line. They say it all the time, especially like we said it last week. And they had success early in that game running the ball. And then they kind of, I mean, again, kudos to a solid defense, but I think this game's going to be won in the trenches, and they have to get that pass rush going, pick up where they left off. Because the one thing about Jared Goff, you mentioned before, he's not mobile. He will throw some interceptions. He will make mistakes if you
Hmm.
put pressure on him. It's been his
Yep.
MO since he came out of college. So I think the first key is both lines need to play. The defensive line needs to play just like they did last week. The offensive line has to be better. I think on offense, then the second key, they got to sustain drives. They lead the league in 3 and outs, and that's not going to do it against the Lions. I mean, you need to eat some time off the clock and at least get a couple first downs. Like if you get a couple first downs and then have to punt, that's fine. Play the field position battle, but you have to sustain drives. I mean, they're money in the red zone, but they can't do anything else anywhere else on the
Yep.
field half the time. Um,
Yeah.
and then finally, especially with Detroit, you got to limit the explosive plays. Like I was trying to do some nerdy analytical stuff on it. Um, couldn't find like the official stat I was looking for, so I just went with my eye test. They have a lot of explosive plays, whether it's St. Brown, whether it's what's the other receiver's name?
Jameson
Um,
Williams.
Williams. I knew it
Jameson
was
Williams.
Jameis.
Yeah.
I was going to
Yep.
say Crowder. I was going to say
Yeah.
Crowder, but Jamison Williams, both running backs, Laporta, limit those explosive plays. They're going to get theirs. Like, I don't think there's any doubt about it. They're going to get theirs, but limit them and then fire back with some of your own. I mean,
Yep.
let's get AJ going. And I'll give you a bonus key to the game. Crowd's going to be pretty pumped up for Sunday night, big game. I think this is the game we all kind of circled on the schedule when it came out because we didn't get to see it last year. Play off
Hmm.
the crowd. I mean, the crowd's going to be pumped up. They got to introduce the defense first. Like
They
I
will.
think that's a no brainer at this point, and just play off that crowd. So that's my bonus one.
There you go. I like it. Look, I start off with the defense. I think the defense needs to stay disciplined. Um, keep containment. Gibbs and Montgomery, Jameson Williams, like they got a lot of speed on that defense, so they need to stay disciplined and get to Goff. They need to get the pass rush to Goff because, as we both said, he will make mistakes. He will fumble. He will throw picks. He will make bad throws. We have to force him to do that. If you give him too much time, he's a good enough quarterback. He will pick you apart. He will dissect you,
Yes.
right? So that's the first key. The second key, I alluded to it, but you got to contain Gibbs and Montgomery. You got to contain that duo. Um, we touched on it earlier. Um, Gibbs is explosive. It's the what do they call him? Sonic and Knuckles, man. Gibbs is explosive. It's the
Yeah.
old thunder and lightning that we used to have with the Giants, with Jacobs and Barber.
Rick,
You know what I mean? Like it's
Ricky.
just
What about Ricky Waters and Charlie Gardner?
I
Thunder and lightning.
I'm not a Ricky fan because of the who for what. I've never gotten over that. Never gotten over that. And I told you I met Charlie Garner. I stood next to him at training camp when they were at Westchester, and the dude's thighs were like the size of my whole body, and I was like, "Holy hell, this dude's a beast." But he was the original Quadzilla. But Gibbs and Montgomery, that duo, man, it could be a 1-2 punch for them. That our run defense is going to need to be disciplined, and I like our linebackers against them. It's just a matter of can we force them into enough long drives and like long yardage situations to kind of give our guys a break.
Yeah.
Um, Third key, get the offense going. I want us to be the explosive offense this week. I know that they can be the explosive offense, but we need to be the explosive offense. And we need to for two reasons. One, because we need to be explosive in order to win this game, but I think we all need it. Them, the team included. We all need to see it. We all need to see them play to their potential and be as explosive because we know they can be. They need to do it. No better time to shut everybody up than to do it on Sunday Night Football against the Lions. It's the perfect time. That's exactly what they need to do, and they need to get that offense going. I don't care if it's 280 yards rushing and Saquon goes for 3 touchdowns. That's fine too. Get something
Yeah.
going and be explosive and dominate on the offensive side of the ball. Prove a point, send a message, and just shut everybody up.
Amen
That's what
and
needs to happen.
preach.
That's what needs to happen. So, look, I'm gonna go to my game pick. I got the Birds. I got the Birds winning. I know that's a shock because I picked them every week this year. Um, but I'm a realistic person. I can see this going the other way too with this same exact score, 34-31. I got the Birds winning. I could also see it going 34-31 Lions, but I'm going with the Birds 34-31. I'm assuming you have something pretty
Can you
damn
see that?
close. 34-31. All right.
Now, everything in my head is telling me the Lions win this game. I don't necessarily think it's a blowout, but could the Lions win by 10 to 17 points? Absolutely. Is it likely that that happens? Probably. And everything in my I try to be. I'm the only one on the pod so far that has picked against the Eagles in a week, and luckily it didn't work out that way for it. It was Kansas City, but I just feel like early in the week, I was like, all right, I'm picking the Lions. And then as the week progressed, all the A.J. Brown stuff, all the other stuff, this team, ever since that 2023 season, has come out and handled adversity brilliantly. And I just feel like with everything that came in this week, it galvanized this team. I think they're focused. They know that Detroit's coming in here to try to get some type of, I can't even say revenge. It's more of motivation that we didn't, that you should have been us last, or we should have been you last
Yes.
year.
Yep.
I think they get it going. I think I look at it more like the Buffalo game from 2023, where it's a good game throughout. And
Yep.
I just think going Eagles 34-31. It's so funny. That's why I had to show so people didn't think I was picking the same
That
thing.
that was the score of that Buffalo game too.
It
Exact
was.
same score.
It
Exact
was.
same score.
You don't know
So,
Jalen Hurts like I know Jalen Hurts.
yep. Yep. We might get that same type of thing this week, man. Same type of thing.
I will take it. And then for fantasy stars, again, every time something like this happens and it kind of blows up and boils to a head, he comes out and responds. I got AJ Brown with 100 yards and a touchdown. It's the AJ coming out party. He's going to go on whatever that guy's name is, Twitch, and be like, I'm good. I'm good now.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep. Pick me back up
uh,
in fantasy.
with that being said, Jalen's going to come out and throw 3 touchdowns, one to AJ, one to Dallas Goddard, who's also going to have 80 yards. I'm not sure who the other one's going to be. I could see Saquon catching something, or Skinny Batman, whoever. But I think Jalen has 3 touchdown passes, not 3 total touchdowns, 3 touchdown passes in this game. And I think the defense will put pressure on Goff. I think Goff and that offense will get theirs. but I got them with 3 sacks. Hopefully, one's BG, so the place can just go absolutely bananas.
I like it.
And then player of the game, Jalen Hurts. He's going to
Okay.
throw close to 300 yards and 3 touchdowns.
All right. So this is where we're going to differ a little bit. So I got Jalen with 3 total touchdowns. I got AJ with 75 yards and a touchdown. So I do think AJ, comes out and I don't think they game plan to throw him and force him the ball, but I think they game plan a couple plays for him and he gets a TD. Saquon, I think something that's not talked about enough is the Eagles ran the ball on that first drive against the Packers very well because they had Lane Johnson and they put Freddie in there as the tackle eligible, right? As an offensive lineman
Fred.
eligible. Fred ended up having to play right tackle when Lane went out, and they couldn't go in with a sixth offensive lineman, and that hurt them,
Right.
right? Lane Johnson's playing this week. Freddie Johnson's going to be eligible. I'm going to look at you throughout the game and say, he's eligible, yeah. Like, I'm going to cheer. I'm going to be happy about it. And Saquon goes off for 125 and a touchdown.
Ooh.
And so Jalen 3 total, Saquon 125 and a touchdown, AJ 75 and a touchdown. And the defense, just like last week, defense is getting 2 turnovers. Whether it's 2 fumbles, whether it's 2 interceptions, they're getting 2 of them. And my player/players of the game are going to be Nakobe Dean and Zach Bond. They're going to come up big and they're going to shut down the duo of Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. And the reason why we're going to win the game is because they're going to come up with a big play, whether it's on 4th down, 3rd down, whatever it is, and it's going to be against one of them, and they're going to stop them. So I couldn't pick
Like
just
it.
one of them. I had to pick them both because I'll be sick to my stomach if I pick Nakobe and Zach Bond balls out, and then
It's
it'll be
on.
the other way around. So between the 2 of them,
I
I
get
think
it.
they're both going to ball out. I think they're both going to ball out, but one of them's going to make that key play.
I like it. No, I like it. Like I said, I think this whole week they're going to be galvanized, and they're going to. I think it's the start of the run. I think
Yeah,
we're gonna. I mean, they're going to lose a game down the stretch. They're not going to run the. Well, who knows? I didn't think they were going to run the table last year either. But
never know. Never know. Stranger things have happened, but we have seen it happen before. I beg to differ, sir. Happy Gilmore accomplished that feat less than 2 hours ago. So
all right, I think that's the way to go out there happy. But where
it
can people
is.
find you?
They can find me on Twitter, Instagram at KyleMont16, and you can catch me every week on the Clashing Conferences podcast every Tuesday night. We're in there. If you're a sports fan, you want to get with like-minded people that just banter back and forth, join us. Jim's a part of it. We have some good times,
Good
man. It's
time.
good fun. Good fun just bantering back and forth with very, very like-minded sports people. So hit us up. Hit us
Love it.
up for sure.
And then catch me on all social at Philly Jimbo every Monday through Friday, this day in Philly sports history. And if you follow me on social media, stay tuned because starting Monday, I'm kicking off my 3rd annual food and gift holiday fundraiser benefiting the Maddie Ann Dixon Community Cupboard in Ambler. Um, all the details will be up on my socials. So it's the holiday season, time to give back, and go Birds.
Go Birds.
All right, brother. Hopefully, we are feeling a lot better about this team. Next week, we'll be back getting ready for who's next week? Oh, the Cowboys. Of course, it's Cowboys week.
Mm.
How can I
We know
forget?
what that is. We know what Cowboys week is, but we won't look ahead. It'll be a fun
Yeah,
one next week. It'll be a real fun one,
we
especially
need to
if we
go
come off of a
Detroit week
win.
first.
Yeah, let's get through week 11 and then we'll talk about week 12.
Sounds good. All right, everybody. We will be back next week with the Brotherly Birds Breakdown. This is Jim and Kyle. And until next time, go Birds.
Go Birds.
You're going to miss that shot, you jackass.